The massive vessel materialized against the starlit backdrop of Earth's orbital zone, its sleek silhouette a testament to technologies far beyond human understanding. Quantum displacement drives hummed with an almost musical precision, casting a soft blue-green glow that contrasted sharply with the dark expanse of space. Captain Sarah Chen watched from the United Earth Defense Force's primary monitoring station, her fingers hovering just millimeters above the holographic interface. Tension crackled through the command center like static electricity. Technicians and analysts from multiple international teams held their collective breath, monitoring every microsecond of the alien vessel's approach. The ship's design defied conventional engineering principles, smooth organic curves that seemed to shift and breathe, materials that appeared to exist in multiple states simultaneously. "Incoming transmission," announced Marcus Rodriguez, the lead communications specialist. His voice carried a mixture of professional calm and barely concealed excitement. The main view screen flickered, then resolved into a holographic representation of the alien delegation. 3 distinct species comprised the Zorn Collective's diplomatic team. The primary speaker resembled a crystalline humanoid form, its body composed of interlocking geometric shapes that shifted and recalibrated with each movement. To its left, a gaseous entity swirled within a containment field, tendrils of luminescent plasma forming what could only be described as facial features. The third representative appeared most alien, a silicon-based life form that looked like a cross between a mechanical construct and a living sculpture. "Greetings, inhabitants of the third planet," the crystalline representative began, its voice a complex harmonic that seemed to bypass traditional audio channels and resonate directly within the minds of those listening. "We are the Zorn Collective, representatives of the Galactic Concordance. We come with an assessment of your technological capabilities." Sarah exchanged a quick glance with her second-in-command. The phrase "with an assessment" carried an unmistakable undertone of condescension. The holographic display shifted, revealing a comprehensive breakdown of Earth's military technologies. Primitive projectile weapons appeared as crude diagrams. Chemical explosives were labeled with dismissive annotations. Entire military systems were categorized with what could only be described as scientific contempt. "Your current technological state," the crystalline being continued, "represents a level of development we would classify as pre-contact. Your weapon systems are remarkably inefficient. Your energy production methods are wasteful. Your computational technologies are rudimentary at best." Each word was delivered with a clinical precision that felt more like a scientific classification than an insult. Yet the message was clear. Humanity was being evaluated and found wanting. Marcus's hands flew across the communication panel, recording every moment of the transmission. Around the command center, international representatives from various military and scientific organizations watched with a mixture of emotions. Some appeared angry, others curious, but most maintained a professional composure. The gaseous entity suddenly projected a series of holographic schematics, highlighting the vast technological gap between human and Zorn technologies. Energy weapons that could obliterate entire cities, shield systems that could deflect multiple nuclear strikes, faster-than-light communication networks that made human technologies look like children's toys. "We offer this assessment," the crystalline representative concluded, "not as an act of aggression, but as a scientific observation. Your species stands at a critical juncture. Technological elevation is possible, but requires significant intervention." The transmission ended as abruptly as it began, leaving an electric silence in its wake. Captain Chen slowly exhaled, her mind already racing through potential responses. This was more than a first contact scenario. This was a challenge. The Zorn Collective had not just evaluated humanity. They had underestimated it. "Begin full spectrum analysis," she commanded. "I want every research facility and technical team brought online. This transmission is going to be our roadmap." Around her, the command center burst into coordinated activity. Communication networks lit up worldwide. Research centers that had been working in isolation suddenly found themselves part of a global effort. Universities, military think tanks, independent research groups, all began sharing data at unprecedented speeds. The Zorn Collective believed they were delivering a scientific assessment. They did not realize they had just ignited humanity's most powerful resource, collective innovation born from diversity, competition, and an unbreakable spirit of determination. The alien transmission spread across global networks with unprecedented speed. Within minutes, billions of devices simultaneously displayed the Zorn Collective's dismissive assessment. Social media platforms, news networks, and communication channels exploded with a spectrum of human reactions: shock, anger, curiosity, and an emerging sense of collective purpose. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat in her laboratory at the International Research Complex in Sao Paulo, watching the transmission for the third time. Her fingers traced the holographic projections, analyzing the subtle nuances of alien technology. Around her, screens displayed multiple data streams, each representing a different approach to understanding the alien schematics. "This is more than a technological challenge," she muttered to her research assistant, Diego. "It's an invitation to reimagine everything we know about technological development." Halfway across the world, in a converted military bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, a different kind of collaboration was taking shape. Major General Thomas Reyes coordinated with international defense specialists, creating a real-time global communication network that bypassed traditional bureaucratic channels. Military researchers from countries that had been historical rivals now shared classified data with unprecedented openness. In Tokyo, a team of quantum computing experts began dissecting the alien transmission's communication protocols. Their findings were instantly shared with colleagues in Berlin, who cross-referenced the data with advanced materials research. A university in Mumbai connected with a space technology center in Cape Town, their collaborative algorithms working to decode the alien technological principles. The global response defied traditional expectations. Instead of competition, a remarkable spirit of unified purpose emerged. Research facilities that had been working in isolation now became nodes in a living, breathing network of innovation. Firewall restrictions melted away. Proprietary research was shared with a speed and transparency never before seen in human history. Dr. Rodriguez's team developed a unique approach. They began creating simulation models that challenged the fundamental assumptions of the alien technology. Each simulation was a puzzle, a way to understand the gaps in the Zorn Collective's seemingly perfect technological ecosystem. "Look at their energy transfer systems," Diego observed, highlighting a complex holographic diagram. "They've optimized for efficiency, but they've eliminated adaptability. It's like they've created a perfect machine that can't evolve." The research teams discovered something profound. The Zorn Collective's technological superiority was also their greatest weakness. Their systems were so perfectly optimized that they had removed the fundamental human capacity for unexpected innovation. In a converted aircraft hangar in New Zealand, a group of engineers began developing prototype systems that deliberately introduced controlled chaos into technological designs. They drew inspiration from biological systems, from the human immune response to ecological adaptation mechanisms. Universities established emergency research protocols. Funding that would have taken months to approve was now allocated within hours. Governments redirected resources with unprecedented speed. The alien transmission had become a catalyst for a global technological renaissance. Dr. Rodriguez received a communication from a colleague in Stockholm. "We've identified something interesting in their quantum communication protocols," the message read. "There's a fundamental limitation in their data transmission that we might be able to exploit." The implications were staggering. The Zorn Collective had presented their technology as perfect, but the human researchers were discovering potential vulnerabilities that the aliens themselves might not have recognized. Major General Reyes convened a virtual conference with defense specialists from around the globe. The meeting was unlike any previous military strategy session. Engineers sat alongside theoretical physicists. Materials scientists discussed concepts with communication experts. The traditional boundaries between disciplines dissolved. "We're not just preparing a response, Rise explained to the assembled experts. We're developing a completely new approach to technological innovation. Social media and public communication channels became unexpected research platforms. Citizen scientists, amateur engineers, and technology enthusiasts contributed observations and ideas. The global response transformed into a collective intelligence project that transcended traditional research methodologies. By the end of the first 48 hours, something remarkable had occurred. The alien transmission, intended to demonstrate humanity's technological inferiority, had instead unleashed a wave of collaborative innovation unlike anything in human history. Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her research, a slight smile crossing her face. The Zorn Collective had come to evaluate humanity. Instead, they had awakened something far more powerful, a species capable of turning a moment of potential humiliation into an opportunity for unprecedented growth. "We're going to need more whiteboards," she told Diego, as another set of collaborative research streams began to populate their screens. The research facility in Geneva buzzed with an energy that defied traditional scientific methodologies. What had begun as a systematic analysis of the alien transmission had transformed into something entirely unexpected. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of a holographic display, surrounded by specialists from disciplines that would have never collaborated in the past. A quantum physicist from Beijing stood shoulder to shoulder with a mechanical engineer from Brazil. A marine biologist from Australia discussed adaptive systems with a computer scientist from Kenya. The boundaries between scientific disciplines had become as fluid as the research itself. "Look at their technological approach," explained Dr. Rafael Santos, the mechanical engineering lead, pointing to a complex holographic representation of Zorn Collective technology. "They've created a system so optimized that it's fundamentally rigid. Every component is designed for maximum efficiency, but with zero capacity for unexpected adaptation." The hologram rotated, revealing intricate layers of alien technological design. Geometric patterns shifted and realigned, demonstrating a perfection that was simultaneously beautiful and sterile. Each system was a marvel of engineering, yet something crucial was missing. "It's like a symphony where every note is perfectly placed," commented Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the quantum computing specialist. "But there's no room for improvisation, no space for the unexpected." The team had discovered a fundamental truth about the Zorn Collective's technological philosophy. Where human technology embraced imperfection, alien systems sought absolute optimization. Their weapons, communication networks, and computational systems were designed to eliminate variables, an approach that ironically created significant vulnerabilities. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Maria Gonzalez, a marine biologist specializing in ecosystem adaptation, presented a radical perspective. She overlaid biological adaptation models onto the alien technological schematics, revealing a startling correlation. "Look at how their systems respond to external stimuli," she explained. "They have predetermined response protocols. But biological systems, especially human systems, don't just respond. We adapt, we improvise, we fundamentally change our approach." The research team began developing experimental prototypes that deliberately introduced controlled chaos into technological systems. They drew inspiration from diverse sources: the human immune response, ecological adaptation mechanisms, even urban traffic flow patterns. In a converted warehouse in Detroit, a team of engineers created a modular weapon system that could physically reconfigure itself based on environmental conditions. Unlike the alien technologies with fixed operational parameters, this system would learn and adapt in real time. Another research group in Mumbai developed communication networks inspired by neural pathways. Instead of following rigid transmission protocols, these networks could create new connection routes on the fly, bypassing damaged or inefficient pathways. The global research effort had become more than a military response. It was an exploration of technological philosophy, a challenge to the very concept of technological development. Dr. Rodriguez recognized the profound implication of their work. The Zorn Collective had arrived expecting to find a primitive species. Instead, they would encounter a civilization that understood something fundamental about innovation. That true advancement comes from the capacity to embrace uncertainty. "We're not just developing counter-technologies," she explained during a global briefing. "We're demonstrating a completely different approach to technological evolution." Simulation after simulation proved their hypothesis. The modular systems outperformed traditional designs by significant margins. Communication networks developed using biological adaptation principles showed remarkable resilience. Weapon systems became living, learning entities rather than static tools. The research teams worked with a sense of collective purpose that transcended national boundaries. Funding flowed freely. Bureaucratic barriers dissolved. Universities, military research centers, and private technology companies collaborated with an intensity that would have been unimaginable mere weeks earlier. A breakthrough came when Dr. Santo's team discovered a way to introduce quantum-level uncertainty into mechanical systems. By creating components that could exist in multiple potential states simultaneously, they developed technologies that could adapt faster than any predictive algorithm could analyze. The Zorn Collective believes in perfect prediction. Dr. Tanaka observed, "We're creating systems that are fundamentally unpredictable." As the research progressed, something remarkable became clear. Humanity's greatest technological strength was not in any single innovation, but in the ability to collaborate, to think differently, to see potential where others saw only limitation. The alien transmission had been intended as an assessment. Instead, it had become an invitation, a challenge to demonstrate the true nature of human innovation. Dr. Rodriguez looked at the evolving holographic displays, a smile of quiet determination crossing her face. The Zorn Collective was about to learn a fundamental lesson about underestimating a species capable of turning a moment of potential humiliation into an opportunity for unprecedented growth. The neutral planetary system of Epsilon Crucis had witnessed countless interstellar negotiations, but nothing could have prepared it for what was about to unfold. A barren, rocky world with minimal atmospheric conditions became the stage for humanity's technological response to the Zorn Collective's initial assessment. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the primary Earth demonstration vessel, her hand steady as she reviewed the final systems check. Around her, a crew of international specialists worked with a precision that spoke of weeks of intense preparation. Every system, every component had been meticulously designed to challenge the aliens' understanding of technological capability. The Zorn Collective's diplomatic vessel approached with an air of clinical superiority. Its sleek design contrasted sharply with the more diverse human fleet, a collection of vessels that looked almost hodgepodge in comparison, yet hummed with a subtle, adaptive energy. "Incoming communication," announced Marcus Rodriguez, the communication specialist. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the crystalline representative from the initial transmission. "We are prepared for your demonstration of technological capabilities," the alien representative stated, its voice a complex harmonic that seemed to vibrate with barely concealed condescension. "The Galactic Concordance will observe and evaluate." What happened next would be recorded as a pivotal moment in human history. The first wave of human technologies seemed almost primitive by alien standards. Mechanical drones launched from the human vessels, devices that used chemical propulsion, mechanical targeting systems, and adaptive physical configurations. The Zorn Collective's predictive algorithms began analyzing the incoming technologies, expecting to find easily countered rudimentary systems. Instead, they encountered something entirely unexpected. The drones moved with a fluidity that defied traditional computational predictions. Each device seemed to have its own decision-making capacity, adapting to environmental conditions in real time. Where alien technologies followed predetermined paths, these human-designed systems created new routes, new strategies with each passing moment. A squadron of mechanical interceptors demonstrated capabilities that completely challenged the Zorn Collective's understanding of technological design. These were not just weapons or communication devices. They were living systems that learned and evolved with each interaction. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had overseen the development of a particularly innovative system. Quantum adaptive targeting mechanisms allowed these devices to exist in multiple potential states simultaneously. Traditional energy shields, designed to counter predictable energy signatures, found themselves completely ineffective. The demonstration progressed through multiple stages. Communication networks that the Zorn Collective expected to be easily intercepted instead created dynamic transmission pathways that rewrote themselves faster than any external system could analyze. Mechanical weapon systems penetrated energy barriers through physical adaptations that seemed to defy the basic principles of technological design. They're not just using technology, a Zorn Collective analyst noted with growing concern. They're having a conversation with their own systems. Each human-designed technology carried an element of controlled chaos. Where alien systems sought perfect optimization, these devices embraced uncertainty as a fundamental design principle. They learned, they adapted, they transformed in ways that completely challenged the concept of technological prediction. A critical moment came when a human drone squadron encountered a series of complex energy barriers. Instead of attempting to overcome the barriers through brute force, the drones began to map the barriers' frequencies, creating physical and computational pathways that simply bypassed the defensive systems. The Zorn Collective's observers watched in growing disbelief. Their most advanced predictive algorithms began to fail. These human technologies didn't just respond to stimuli. They anticipated, they learned, they transformed. Mechanical systems developed quantum-level communication capabilities. Communication networks became adaptive organisms. Weapon systems transformed themselves based on environmental conditions, creating responses that were fundamentally unpredictable. "This is not technology," one of the alien representatives muttered. "This is something else entirely." As the demonstration concluded, the neutral planetary system bore witness to a fundamental shift in understanding. The humans had not just demonstrated technological capabilities, they had revealed an entirely new approach to technological development. Captain Chen allowed herself a slight smile. The Zorn Collective had come expecting to find a primitive species. Instead, they had encountered a civilization that understood the true nature of innovation. The transmission would be broadcast across the galaxy. Humanity had just changed the fundamental understanding of technological potential. "Demonstration complete," she announced, her voice calm and steady. "We're ready to discuss the next steps." The aftermath of the demonstration rippled through the Zorn Collective like a quantum disruption. In their central administrative complex, a massive structure that existed simultaneously across multiple dimensional planes, senior analysts and technological philosophers struggled to comprehend what they had witnessed. Dr. Kirill, the lead technological assessment specialist, projected holographic replays of the human demonstration. Each review revealed more layers of complexity that challenged everything the Zorn Collective understood about technological development. "It's not just about the individual technologies," explained Dr. Vex, a senior computational theorist. "It's about the fundamental approach to innovation itself." The human demonstration had exposed a critical flaw in the Zorn Collective's technological philosophy. Where the collective had spent millennia perfecting optimization, humanity had cultivated something far more powerful: adaptive intelligence. Their technological systems were not just tools. They were living, evolving entities that learned from every interaction. Mechanical components communicated with quantum-level awareness. Communication networks behaved more like biological ecosystems than fixed information transfer systems. Deep within the research archives of the Zorn Collective, historical records began to be re-examined. Previous encounters with developing species had always followed a predictable pattern. Technological progress was linear, measurable, containable. Humanity had shattered that understanding completely. The crystalline representative, who had initially delivered the dismissive transmission, now found himself at the center of an unprecedented philosophical crisis. The initial assessment had been fundamentally wrong, not just in technological capability, but in understanding the very nature of innovation. Research teams began dissecting every moment of the human demonstration. They discovered technologies that existed in multiple potential states simultaneously. Communication systems that could reconstruct themselves faster than they could be analyzed. Weapon platforms that learned and adapted with each millisecond of interaction. They don't create technology, one analyst noted during a critical review. They cultivate it. The distinction was profound. Zorn Collective technologies were designed, implemented, and then locked into their most efficient configuration. Human technologies seem to be living systems, constantly changing, constantly learning, constantly evolving. Dr. Kirill's team identified something truly remarkable. The human technologies carried an inherent unpredictability that was not a flaw, but a fundamental design principle. Where the Zorn Collective sought to eliminate variables, humans had learned to harness them. Communication networks developed during the demonstration showed capabilities that defied traditional understanding. They didn't just transfer information, they interpreted, adapted, and transformed it. A communication pathway could literally redesign itself mid-transmission to overcome potential obstacles. Weapon systems demonstrated an almost organic learning capacity. Each interaction became an opportunity for growth, for transformation. Traditional defensive algorithms found themselves completely overwhelmed by systems that could anticipate, adapt, and transform faster than they could be analyzed. The implications extended far beyond military technology. The human approach suggested an entirely different philosophy of technological development, one that embraced uncertainty as a core principle of innovation. We've been approaching technological development as a process of elimination, Dr. Vex explained during a critical review session. Humans approach it as a process of continuous creation. Historical records were re-examined. Previous assessments of developing species were revealed to be fundamentally limited. The Zorn Collective had been measuring technological potential using a framework that was itself deeply flawed. Computational models began to fail when attempting to predict human technological behavior. Traditional analysis techniques discovered something unprecedented, a technological approach that was fundamentally unpredictable by design. The demonstration had done more than showcase technological capabilities. It had challenged the very foundation of how technological progress was understood across the galaxy. Dr. Kirill prepared a comprehensive report for the Galactic Concordance. The recommendation would be unprecedented, a complete revaluation of humanity's technological and cultural potential. We did not encounter a primitive species, the report concluded. We encountered a civilization that understands something fundamental about the nature of innovation that we have forgotten. The Zorn Collective found itself at a critical moment of philosophical transformation. The human demonstration had done more than display technological capabilities. It had revealed a profound truth about the nature of progress, of innovation, of potential. The galaxy would never be the same. The Zorn Collective's initial response came swiftly and predictably. A series of diplomatic vessels entered strategic positions near human-controlled space, their energy signatures a clear demonstration of technological might. Advanced scanning systems probed human territories, attempting to gather more comprehensive data about the species that had so thoroughly challenged their understanding. Captain Sarah Chen watched the approach from the United Earth Defense Force's primary strategic command center. Banks of holographic displays tracked the alien vessels, each movement analyzed in real time by a collaborative network of international researchers and military specialists. They're trying to provoke a response, observed Major Thomas Reyes, studying the tactical displays, hoping we'll reveal more of our technological capabilities. The global research teams had anticipated this approach. What the Zorn Collective didn't realize was that the demonstration was only the beginning of humanity's technological innovation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez led a team that had been working on something extraordinary. Their latest project went beyond traditional weapon or communication systems. They were developing technologies that blurred the line between mechanical and adaptive systems. In a secure research facility beneath the Andes Mountains, prototype systems came to life. Each device was more than a tool. It was a living technological organism. communication networks that could restructure themselves faster than any external system could analyze, defensive platforms that learned and evolved with each potential threat. The first encounter came unexpectedly. A Zorn collective reconnaissance vessel approached a remote human research station in the asteroid belt. Their scanning systems began to probe, expecting to find predictable defensive mechanisms. Instead, they encountered something entirely unprecedented. The research station itself seemed to come alive. Defensive systems materialized from what appeared to be simple structural components. Communication arrays transformed, creating transmission pathways that defied traditional understanding of signal propagation. It's like the entire station is a living organism, as Zorn collective analysts reported with growing concern. Each human technological system carried a fundamental principle of adaptive intelligence. Where alien technologies followed rigid protocols, these systems learned, transformed, and evolved with each interaction. A series of confrontations followed. The Zorn collective attempted limited military probes, expecting to gather comprehensive data about human defensive capabilities. Each encounter revealed more layers of technological complexity. Mechanical drones developed quantum-level communication capabilities. Defensive systems could literally reshape themselves based on incoming threat analysis. Communication networks became adaptive ecosystems that could reconstruct themselves faster than they could be analyzed. Dr. Rodriguez's team had developed a revolutionary approach to technological design. Their systems carried an inherent unpredictability, not as a flaw, but as a core design principle. "We're not creating weapons or communication systems," she explained during a global briefing. "We're cultivating technological ecosystems." The global research effort had transformed into something unprecedented. Universities, military research centers, and independent technology groups worked with a level of collaboration that transcended traditional boundaries. National interests gave way to a collective approach to technological development. In orbital research stations, teams developed technologies that could adapt to extreme environmental conditions, mechanical systems that could repair themselves, communication networks that could literally rewrite their own operational parameters. The Zorn collective found their most advanced predictive algorithms failing repeatedly. Each human encounter revealed technologies that existed in multiple potential states simultaneously. Defensive systems that could anticipate threats before they fully materialized. Major Rice coordinated a global response strategy that was as much about philosophical approach as military capability. The goal was not conflict, but demonstration, a continued exploration of human technological potential. "We're not just defending," he explained to international military leaders. "We're showing them a completely different approach to technological development." Each encounter became an opportunity for innovation. Where the Zorn collective saw potential threats, human researchers saw opportunities for technological growth. Defensive systems became learning platforms. Communication networks transformed into adaptive research environments. The escalation continued, but not in the way the Zorn collective had anticipated. Instead of an arms race, it became a profound exploration of technological potential. Each interaction revealed more layers of human innovative capacity. Captain Chen watched the strategic displays, understanding that they were engaged in something far more significant than a potential conflict. This was a conversation about the very nature of technological progress. The galaxy was witnessing something unprecedented, a species that didn't just use technology, but cultivated it, a civilization that saw innovation not as a destination, but as a continuous journey of discovery. The Orion Arm became a crucible of technological evolution. Vast stretches of space transformed into a living canvas where human innovation would be tested against the most advanced technological systems in the known galaxy. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the primary Earth defense vessel, her team a carefully assembled group of international specialists. Each member represented not just a nation, but a unique approach to technological problem-solving. Quantum physicists worked alongside mechanical engineers. Communication specialists collaborated with adaptive systems designers. The Zorn Collective's primary battle fleet arrived with an overwhelming display of technological might. Hundreds of vessels moved with a precision that spoke of millennia of optimized technological development. Energy signatures that could obliterate entire planetary systems pulsed along their hull structures. Defensive systems that had never been defeated in galactic conflict hummed with confident energy. "Incoming transmission," announced Marcus Rodriguez, the communication specialist. The holographic display revealed the lead Zorn Collective commander, a crystalline entity whose very form suggested technological perfection. "This is your final opportunity," the transmission began, "to acknowledge technological inferiority and submit to guided development protocols." The response was not what they expected. Human vessels began to move in ways that defied traditional combat strategies. Where the Zorn Collective expected linear approaches, human systems created dynamic, fluid movements. Defensive platforms seemed to emerge from nowhere, reshaping themselves with each millisecond of interaction. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had overseen the development of a revolutionary technological approach. The human systems were not just weapons or defensive platforms. They were living, learning entities. Each device carried an adaptive intelligence that could transform faster than any predictive algorithm could analyze. Swarms of mechanical drones moved with an organic fluidity. They communicated through quantum-level networks that rewrote themselves continuously. Defensive systems could literally anticipate threats before they fully materialized, creating protective configurations that the Zorn Collective's most advanced scanning systems could not comprehend. The battle became something far more profound than a military confrontation. It was a philosophical demonstration of technological potential. Energy weapons that should have obliterated human vessels found themselves redirected by adaptive shielding systems. Communication networks transformed faster than they could be intercepted. Mechanical components learned and evolved with each interaction, creating technologies that existed in multiple potential states simultaneously. "They're not fighting," a Zorn Collective analyst reported with growing confusion. "They're having a conversation with their own technologies." The human approach challenged every fundamental principle of technological development that the Zorn Collective understood. Where alien systems sought perfect optimization, human technologies embraced uncertainty as a core design principle. Defensive platforms could literally reshape themselves based on incoming threat analysis. Communication arrays created transmission pathways that defied traditional understanding of signal propagation. Each human technological system carried an inherent unpredictability that was not a weakness, but a profound strength. Major Thomas Reyes coordinated the global response from a distributed command network. No single point of control could be identified or targeted. The entire human technological response was a living, adaptive ecosystem. Entire sections of space became test grounds for technological innovation. The Zorn Collective's most advanced predictive algorithms began to fail repeatedly. Each encounter revealed technologies that existed beyond traditional understanding of mechanical and computational systems. The confrontation continued for what seemed like an eternity, yet measured in mere hours by galactic standards. Human technologies demonstrated capabilities that went beyond weapon systems or defensive platforms. They were living proof of a fundamentally different approach to technological development. Dr. Rodriguez watched the strategic displays, understanding that they were engaged in something far more significant than a potential conflict. This was a conversation about the very nature of technological progress. As the battle reached its critical moment, something unprecedented occurred. The human technological systems began to demonstrate a level of collective intelligence that transcended individual device capabilities. Communication networks became adaptive ecosystems. Defensive platforms learned and evolved with each millisecond of interaction. The Zorn Collective found themselves facing not just a military challenge, but a fundamental reimagining of technological potential. Captain Chen's final transmission was as much a philosophical statement as a military communication. "We are not here to defeat you." The message read, "We are here to demonstrate a different approach to innovation." The Orion Arm bore witness to a moment that would transform galactic understanding. Humanity had not just displayed technological capabilities, they had revealed a profound truth about the nature of progress, of innovation, of potential. The universe would never be the same. The aftermath of the confrontation in the Orion Arm reverberated through the entire galactic concordance. What had begun as a dismissive assessment of human technological capabilities had transformed into a profound revaluation of innovation itself. In the central administrative complex of the Zorn Collective, senior leaders gathered in a massive chamber that existed simultaneously across multiple dimensional planes. Holographic representations of the recent confrontation played out in intricate detail, each replay revealing new layers of complexity that challenged everything they understood about technological development. Dr. Kirill, the lead technological assessment specialist, stood before the assembled leaders. The crystalline beam's geometric form seemed to shimmer with an unusual combination of confusion and emerging respect. "We did not encounter a primitive species," the report began. "We encountered a civilization that understands something fundamental about the nature of innovation that we have forgotten." The human approach had exposed a critical flaw in the Zorn Collective's technological philosophy. Millennia of pursuing perfect optimization had ultimately created a technological ecosystem that was fundamentally rigid. Humanity had demonstrated something far more powerful: the ability to embrace uncertainty as a core principle of innovation. Diplomatic communications began to change. The initial condescending tone transformed into a genuine desire to understand. Research teams from the Zorn Collective began requesting collaborative studies, something unprecedented in their historical interactions with developing species. Dr. Elena Rodriguez led the human response team. The global research effort that had begun with the alien transmission had transformed human civilization in ways nobody could have anticipated. National boundaries had become increasingly irrelevant. Scientific collaboration had reached levels of intensity that would have been unimaginable just months earlier. "This isn't about superiority," she explained during a global briefing. "This is about understanding different approaches to technological development." The first joint research initiatives began to take shape. Zorn Collective researchers found themselves challenged and inspired by human approaches to innovation. Where their technologies sought to eliminate variables, human systems learned to harness them. Quantum physicists from multiple species began collaborative research projects. Communication networks became platforms for cross-cultural understanding. Technologies that had once been developed for potential conflict now became tools for mutual exploration. Captain Sarah Chen oversaw the diplomatic negotiations. The military specialist understood that this was about far more than technological exchange. It was a fundamental shift in galactic understanding. Research stations were established in neutral zones. Human and Zorn Collective researchers worked side by side, each learning from the other's approach to technological development. Mechanical engineers studied biological adaptation principles. Quantum physicists explored the nature of uncertainty as a design principle. The global human research network that had been created during the initial confrontation became a platform for unprecedented collaboration. Universities, research centers, and technology groups from around the world continued to work with a level of integration that transcended traditional boundaries. Major Thomas Reyes coordinated the diplomatic and research strategies. The military approach had transformed from potential conflict to a mission of mutual understanding. Each interaction became an opportunity for technological and cultural exchange. The Zorn Collective began to reevaluate their entire approach to technological development. Their historical records were re-examined. Previous assessments of developing species were revealed to be fundamentally limited. "We were measuring potential using a framework that was itself deeply flawed," one senior analyst noted during a critical review. Technological exchange programs were established. Young researchers from multiple species began collaborative projects that challenged traditional understanding of innovation. Communication networks became platforms for cross-cultural learning. The initial transmission that had once been a moment of potential humiliation became a turning point in galactic history. Humanity had not just demonstrated technological capabilities, they had revealed a profound truth about the nature of progress, of innovation, of potential. Dr. Kirill prepared a comprehensive report for the Galactic Concordance. The recommendations would reshape understanding of technological development across multiple species. Humanity represents a new model of innovation, the report concluded. An approach that embraces uncertainty, values adaptation, and sees technological development as a continuous journey of discovery. The universe had changed. What had begun as a moment of potential conflict had transformed into an unprecedented opportunity for mutual understanding. Captain Chen reflected on the journey as she reviewed the final diplomatic communications. They had not conquered the Zorn Collective. They had something far more powerful. They had changed their understanding of what was possible. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had not just entered the galactic stage. They had redefined it.